Good. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Oh, it was on.
Decided to go to sleep.
Shut itself down, we were all set. Thank you for calling Legacy Health. This is Autumn. How can I help you?
That's weird.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the first part. Okay. Are we going to the seminar tonight, or do you have a future?
There we go.
Yeah, I can keep you up there. Let us know if you need support. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, we have future ones. We can sign you up for another one at a later date. Hello. Oh, how are you? Okay.
Okay.
Right here for the seminar.
Yeah.
All right. What is your business?
Okay.
Okay. If you want to come over here and have a seat, and then I'll bring these to you.
Okay.
So, whatever you need to do. Have a seat right here. You're welcome. I'll be right back. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll see ya.
All right. It's about that time, I believe. We'll get rolling here in a moment. Okay.
That's a shame. But he's coming. Yeah, exactly. Aw.
All good?
People across the street in an accident when they're supposed to be coming.
Oh,
They still are, they say.
no. Okay.
It is, I'm right over it.
Here's some folks that are pulling in, and there's literally gotten to a fender bender right in this. So, well, we're gonna get started, and I'll get to join us here in a little minute. Yeah, welcome. Glad you're here. So, Dr. Tomasetti, a few things about my voice real quick. Sometimes it gets tight. And if you need me to repeat something, just let me know. I'll make sure you get your vision today. You're in store for a real treat. We're going to do a live demonstration for you today, and actually just show you what this looks like. Who's a little excited about what that's going to be. Right? Go, what is that going to look like? Yeah. So one of you will have an opportunity to get actually treated today. Okay. So without further ado, let's dive in. Just so I have a little background. I don't want to dribble on this yet. Who has been diagnosed with neuropathy already? Like, you know you have it. Okay, so Kate, unsure.
I just have chronic pain of just figuring it all out.
Chronic pain.
Things I don't know. My mom had it.
Mom had it. Okay, so you're not sure where you're at with all that yet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that just gives me some idea on how to support you guys in this process. But you'll see how a lot of the concepts we're going to talk about apply to chronic pain regardless of what's causing or what the name of it is. So we'll get into all that. Okay. We got a small enough group today. We've had 25 people in here before. So anyway, small enough group to where we can actually interact a little bit more. So ask questions, make sure we get it should be a little fun today. If that's okay. Yeah. So I want to show you today what are breakthrough secrets where we're saying to actually reverse and heal neuropathy. Who's been told it can't be done? Yeah, right? Like, no, once you got neuropathy, you're stuck with it, right? Yeah. I'm sorry you've been lied to. Okay, honestly. Now, they don't mean to. Honestly, your doctors aren't trying to lie to you. They're just maybe misinformed or don't know what's out there yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's dive into this. So, a little about me, my family. I got 6 kiddos. My amazing wife, Emily, kind of keeps the whole show running when I'm over here. And but that's what keeps me busy when I'm not here. And my goal for you guys today is this. I'm a local guy. I was just born at Holy Spirit Hospital and went away to school and came back to serve the community. So I'm a neighbor. I want to show you ways you can heal naturally, 50 to 100% improvement. Who's thinking, yeah, right? Be honest. Yeah, thanks, Ken. Thank you. Yeah, right? I did too. I really would. So, like, I've been in your shoes and go like, yeah, baloney. So hang in there. I'm going to show you and peel back the layers, and we're going to show you what this looks like, okay? Yeah. So, what even is neuropathy? So, like, I don't even know if this is what I have, or my doctor told me I got it. I don't know what it is. Bottom line is it's damage to your nerve system. Okay? Specifically, anything that's not your head or your spine. Right? So that's everything else is considered peripheral. And so it's a giant, I want to say it's a junctional term. It covers a large area, right? Most people experience it in their feet or legs. And then next common would be hands and then face. But there's 8 different types of neuropathy. Not going to get all the different specifics on it, but it's miserable, right? It's kind of the bottom line. But it is damage to the nerves. There's over 20 million people in the U.S. dealing with this. And these are old numbers. And probably underreported. Because there's a lot of tough guys and gals out there, and they're like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to tell them about it, right? It's like, I'm just handling it. I just muscle through it. Yeah, you've kind of been there. I'm like, well, okay. So, but it's a big deal. How do you get this stuff? Can you catch it? Is it contagious? Thankfully, no, right? It's like, well, how does this develop, right? Like, what is going on? So we're going to talk about that too, but I want to, it's like for those of you that have been diagnosed with neuropathy, what are the treatments they've given you so far? What are your options that they've given you?
Medication.
Medication?
You know what? I was in the hospital about 2.5 weeks ago. And it wasn't for that, but I was asking the doctor, is there anything that they can do for that?
Yeah.
And he didn't really answer me, like, I didn't really know. And I'm like, but I had, about 2 years ago, I had an accident. I fell off of a friend of mine got a brand new motorcycle. I wasn't going to get on it and ride it.
Yeah.
But I said, let me sit on the motorcycle. So I sat on the motorcycle. When I went to get off, I was taking my leg to scoot over to get off the motorcycle. The motorcycle fell on me and it put a hole in my ankle.
Ow.
I mean, it was like a serious wound. I had to see a wound specialist.
Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe that damaged some of the nerves in but I had diabetes too.
Right.
So
yeah.
I didn't know if it came from
and
that.
And you'll see how those things can dovetail because that's a big deal. You actually have like a mechanical injury and a metabolic problem. You're going to see how that all fits together.
And I've been taking gabapentin for about 2 years now.
2 years.
Every 8 hours.
Yeah.
Once that wears off, it starts tingling and burning, and I can't walk. You
experienced the same thing before? Okay, yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah. I took 2 gabapentins before I came.
Okay. Now, the word I hear most commonly with that medication is zombie. Makes me feel like a zombie. Mm-hmm. Like, anybody experience that? No? Yeah, you're like, yeah. So I don't know why, but that specific word is mentioned more than any other in terms of how it makes you feel. So, it can be useful for time to get some, edge off, but is it actually just solving the problem? No. We're going to talk about that.
But they said it can be so serious where it needs an amputation.
Yeah, that's right. Medications, that's where it can go. Especially if you're diabetic, it can go to amputation. Yeah, I think a couple months ago, a gal was sitting in that chair, and she had missing toes already on one foot, and we're going to take toes off the other foot.
Oh, man.
And I just teared up to like, we didn't get this information here soon enough. So sorry, like we don't have a big budget like big pharma, right? Like we just can't do billion-dollar commercials and so on. But yeah, that's where this can lead. You need to be aware of that. Okay. And basically, they're managing your symptoms. Who's kind of tired of having your symptoms managed?
Me.
You want some answers, right? Yeah. Good. So here's what I've seen, right? You stop living, really, because you're losing your quality of life. Your mobility goes downhill. The things that are hobbies and fun things you can't really do anymore, whether it's neuropathy or chronic pain or like, you just go, right? You've experienced that. And then you stop living. You're like, what's the point? And what I've seen too often here is that you go into those places of despair where it's too dangerous to even feel hope anymore. Some of you have been there. Yeah. And that's a scary place to be. So part of my job today is going to give you a little hope back, sharing you stories of people that were just like you were, that are now on the other side of it. They've been through it and they're actually living their life again. So hang in there, okay? We're going to show you the demo and what that looks like and give you guys some real things to get better with. So what's the better way, right? Like instead of just drugs and amputation, what's the better way? Well, I never really wanted to be a neuropathy expert. Anybody go through the school of hard knocks? Learn things the hard way? Yeah, so let me share that story with you. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, served 2 tours in Vietnam. And he had Agent Orange exposure, which is a known nerve toxin. And so he started losing his balance, had some neuropathy developing. He was also pre-diabetic, so had some sugar handling problems. And our neighbor was having a litter of puppies. And so he went up to the shed to get the kennel out of the 2nd floor to help out the neighbor, came down the stairs. And as he's coming down the stairs, he was losing his balance. And he fell. And he broke his neck. And he was on the steps for an hour before we knew, because we thought he was going to help out the neighbor, right? So my mom called, she's like, hey, your dad fell, we're going to the hospital. And she was in shock, so we didn't really translate. This is a big deal. But that part of me that knows that something's going on, you're like, I need to look into this more. So I drove down to the hospital. And I'll never forget the x-rays they had out, because they're like, these are the ones you see in the school you don't want to see ever, let alone your family member. And they're like, we got an attraction, we're doing the best we can, but he's gonna be paralyzed. He's gonna be a C5 quad. So he was in a chair. They took another filling and did all the rehab they could, and I didn't know anything that I now know in regards to helping us out. And you learn, you take the pain and you transform it into something good, right? So he lived through this, but he could raise his elbows some and feed himself some, but he was never a super social guy to begin with, but then it all went even further downhill from there, and couldn't hug his kids and his grandkids, like just our life completely changed. So living through that led me to figure out, like, we got to figure this out. How do we help people not live through that? Mm-hmm. And so that's why we do these workshops, to show what's actually possible now. Okay, so just know that that's the heart that this comes from, and that's like, we've been through all of this stuff. So picture my dad, some of my kiddos and my nephews when they were little, and yeah, like the spinal fracture, and it was a bad day. Yeah. So all of that led me then to discover and put together the legacy way of doing this, right? This is not just a name on our sign. It's literally how we conduct ourselves in the office. So we look at listening intently to your story. Many of my patients are going to show up through a doctor's office with a 5-minute, 10-minute visit, and here's your medication, see you later. You've experienced that before? Yeah, we don't do that. We actually take time to go, what got you where you are, what's really driving the problem, and can we actually find a solution for you? We do expert and efficient examinations. We don't like to waste time. We get in there, figure it out, let's see what we need to do, and get information, right? We've got gentle and genius protocols that actually work. We activate the healing response. Medication cannot activate your healing response. We have ways to do that. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. Creating mind-body connections, because with pain, chronic pain or neuropathy, right, your brain is trying to shut things down. You're taking medication to actually numb it. How do we recreate the pathways again to make it actually heal? And then why? This is your legacy. You got one life. It's too short, right? Live it to the maximum right now. So that's kind of our motivation with all this. Does that make sense? Yeah. So again, I've been doing neuropathy specifically for over 7 years now. We've seen over 2,200 cases, countless hours away from my family, figuring this stuff out, flying around the country. And now I get to do workshops for other doctors and consult with them on what's working, what's not working, and how can we make life better, right? So that's a little bit of my background on this. And then we see results like Jay and Judy. We were miserable, experiencing a lot of pain in our legs. Walking was a challenge. The pain in our feet we thought was due to arch issues turned out to be neuropathy. And now I can walk better without pain. That's pretty fun. Rick. Robin was driving me crazy. My feet were cold all the time. Anybody experience the cold feet? Yeah.
Yes.
Waking up 5-6 times a night.
Oh.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, right? I don't know about you, but like when I don't sleep well, if I wake up a couple times, like I'm kind of grumpy the next day. Like it just, my brain's not on all right. So I just, yeah. And then you do that night after night after night. Right? That just drains you. So he said, I'm sleeping through now. I don't have to get up anymore. My neuropathy's 75% better. And Sandy saw a lot of progress when she first came in and bad in shape, couldn't walk. The pain was that bad in her feet. My right leg is pain free, left leg is feeling better, treatment is helping, and it's worth every penny. So these are people, like I said, just like literally right where you were, that are doing a whole lot better. So today I want to show you the root cause. What causes neuropathy? All right, we're going to show you the 4-pronged approach that actually wins and gets this stuff better. Hopefully getting a little bit of hope for your healing already, and then we'll show you what next steps could look like. Does that sound like a good idea? That's where we're going today. So number 1 is going to be this. Ooh. Put your hand up like this for me. This is a little demonstration for you. So you're going to put your hand up like this. This is your nerve cell. These are the blood vessels that feed your nerve cell. Okay? So now, if you start to suffocate and choke off the nerve, I'm a little out of myself. Let's make a fist here. Squeeze that as tightly as you can. Okay, we're going to do that for about 10 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes lasts. Okay? What are you going to feel in the hand? What are you going to notice in there?
Numbness.
Yeah, numbness. Stiff. Yeah, stiff, numb. Might hurt after a while.
Hurt.
Yeah, some pain, right? Yeah, you can rest your hand if you haven't already. But you get the idea, like it's starting to give you some neuropathy symptoms. You might get tingling in there. Same idea. So with that in mind, that's what is causing neuropathy is when you start to choke off the blood supply. You start to suffocate that nerve. It's going to start to let you know. And it might be something like pain. It could be something like, neuropathy in the feet or the hands or what have you. Does that make sense? So the better question is what's causing this to happen? Right? What's causing that blood flow to start to get broken down? So again, if you're doing this, we start to see burning, tingling, numbness. You might get weakness as well. Like if you're losing balance or you've got chronic pain going on, you can have balance problems developing and then eventually tissue dying, which then leads to the amputation. Is kind of how that progresses, right? So those are the symptoms you're noticing. What's driving that is gut health is a big deal. Most of your immune system is around your guts. Did you know that? So if your GI is unhealthy, your immune system is going to be overreactive, and that can cause problems. Macronutrients. Those are things like fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. So for people dealing with chronic pain and neuropathy, what do you think we tend to eat too much of?
Carbohydrates.
Yeah, the carbohydrates, exactly. Especially with diabetes, things like that. That turns into sugar, which is damaging to the nerves. Yeah. And then you have your micronutrients. That's your folic acid, your magnesium, your B12, like all these actual vitamins and nutrients your body needs to make the nerve work properly. Okay? And different things can deplete that. Medication depletes nutrients, right? Junk food depletes nutrients, so on. Oxygen deprivation and sedentary lifestyle can go together. Definitely there's an underlying lung issue that'd be an issue. Not able to move because of the pain or discomfort, right? Then things aren't circulating as properly. Make sense? And then underlying neurological weaknesses would be another component. Genetics would play into this as well. So those are the root causes that medication can never touch. That's why it's a Band-Aid at best. So big picture is everybody's trying to get your physiology to work right, or at least to improve or feel better. That's your lab values, your hormones, and how your body works. Under that, it's controlled by the chemistry, and that's why they give medication to give you some kind of relief or try to. And that's how your metabolism is running and your organs are functioning, vitamins, medications, diet, all those things would go into the chemistry layer. What's underlying that is the physics, which is literally light, electricity, and magnets. Okay, now this is going to take your idea of healthcare and literally flip it upside down. Is that okay if I shake up your paradigm for a minute? Give you a new lens to look through? So with that in mind, you can't really patent this stuff like you can a drug, right? So don't get into that whole mess of stuff. What do I mean by light? Sunlight, right? Sunlight hits our skin, turns into what vitamin?
D.
Vitamin D, right? We know there's a lot of benefit with good sunlight. And it changes how we sleep, our sleep patterns, all that kind of stuff, right? So light, that's all I mean is by light is sunlight. Okay? And then electricity is our body is electrical. Nerves run on electricity, right? And so that's a big deal. And then the other is magnetics, which is the Earth's electromagnetic field. The moon and like the tide pool, all that kind of stuff is all electromagnetic, and our bodies interact with that energy as well. Does that make sense? So that's like the underlying creational physics that allow our body to operate. And that then makes the chemistry run. So if we're getting a breakdown in this, does it make sense that the physics might be off as well as the chemistry? So we got to kind of look at all the layers. That's why we are winning when other systems are not, because we're looking at asking deeper and better questions. Okay? So this is as nerdy as we're going to get today on the science. But here's what I want you to see. That word electron is electricity. When you have a canister of oxygen, right, you're not supposed to spark it, are you? But if you put a spark in your oxygen, what happens? Boom, right? It makes a lot of energy. You get 34 energy molecules, like the same thing with your car. You burn oxygen with the fuel, and it sparks, and you get energy going so you can move your car. Our body does the same thing. We burn oxygen with electrons, and we get energy, a lot of energy. If that system breaks down, now you're burning sugar, and you get 2 energy. You with me? Which one do you want, 34 or 2? Yeah, you'll be over here. You want that big boom of energy, right? Because then you can do what with it? You can heal. You're not going to explode, right? You're going to heal with that energy. You're going to do everything you need to do to get better. So does that make sense conceptually? Electricity or electrons make this one run right. Okay? If that's not working right, then you're going to going to burning sugar and you're in big trouble in terms of energy. You got a big energy debt developing. So if you're already like this, you need that 34 energy, you need that big boom to get things healing again. Okay? So that's what we're trying to accomplish. You can also think of it like a battery. Every cell in your body, and there's trillions of them, are like little miniature batteries. They literally have a charge in them like a 9-volt battery does. Okay? When that battery gets drained and it can't recharge properly, you're in trouble. Okay? So, again, medication, can it actually charge a battery in your body? Or does it tend to drain your battery long term? Yeah. Right? There's side effects that it damages kidney and liver, like all the different side effects that go with medications, right? It's a battery drainer. So, big picture is if you got neuropathy or chronic pain, you're down in this arena somewhere. We already know that just from your history. There's no cell on the planet, though, that can develop cancer if the charge is high enough. So we're not really talking about cancer, we're talking about neuropathy and pain and those sort of things, but keep this in mind. So let's ask this question. Who do you know that's developed heart cancer? Have you ever heard of heart cancer? No. Why not?
You said no one has it.
Yeah, because no one has it, right? What? Great answer. Why doesn't anybody have it though?
It exists.
Well, it's not that it doesn't, but why doesn't it exist? If your heart battery dropped below this, what do you think is going to happen?
It goes down.
Yeah, you're going to go down. If your heart battery dropped below this level, you probably die of a heart event before you can even develop cancer in the tissue. Does that make some sense? Okay? So, again, apply that to neuropathy. If your nerves are damaged, right, and your heart's tired out too, where's your body going to spend energy? Trying to fix a nerve or trying to keep your heart alive? Does that make sense? Is it going to try to, fix the pain in your foot, or is it going to try to keep your brain going? So your vital organs are going to get the energy before anything else does. Are you with me? So bottom line is we got to make sure your batteries are charged in your whole system if we're going to win. You're going to see why that's important here in a minute. Are you with me? Is that making sense now? So we need to make enough energy, and we need to make sure your batteries are charged to make it heal. Okay, how do we do that? Number one secret is this: oxygen and angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is a big word that simply means making new blood vessels. So in our hand demonstration, right, if you're like this and those blood vessels are gone, you got to make new ones to get oxygen and nutrients to that damaged nerve tissue. Does that make sense? And you need energy to make that happen. So here's what we'll commonly see. Red and white are normal colors. This is a heat scan. Red and white are normal colors. Everything else is not acceptable in my office. Okay? What do you see in the feet here?
Yellow.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? Yeah, it's super cold, right? The blood flow is not there. And that was June 2nd. About 6 weeks later, on the 18th, what are you noticing now? Uh-huh.
Red and yellow.
Yeah, red and yellow. That's doing this. It's starting to get blood flow back into the tissue. And when you get nutrients back to the tissue and toxins out and energy is flowing in there again, guess what happens? You start getting healing, right? So that's number one, is getting oxygen and nutrients into the tissues again. So when we apply that, I'll share Betty's story with you. Betty was one of my first patients in practice. I'm traditionally trained as a chiropractor. She had back pain. It worked out really well. Got her back better pretty quickly. And then she's like, Doc, I got some neuropathy. Can you help me with that? I was like, neuropathy? I heard about that in school, but I don't know much about that. This is before my dad and all that sort of thing. And so she's going to mention, well, here's what happened. We just asked her, like, well, let's try some things, right? We put together a plan. And And we went for it, and guess what happened?
What happened?
0. We got nowhere. Didn't work at all. Okay, strike 1. And then, so what do you do when that happens, right? You go back to the drawing board, you learn some new things, you take a different approach. So we did that, and then guess what happened?
Still fail.
Exactly, Ashley, we got nowhere, or strike 2. So then with that, and then it's like, well, then I learned everything through with my dad and all that was going on. It's like, okay, now we got a plan that's actually going to make some things work. And so that's what we applied here this third time around. She's going to mention numbers, and you need to pay attention to this. The numbers are going to represent the damage in the nerve. When the nerve is lost 85% of its ability to feel or the sensory function, then it's usually the point past the point of no return. Right? It's like a plant. It needs soil and water and sunlight and all those things. But if that plant's too far gone, you can change all that stuff in its environment. It's still not going to get better, right? These nerves are similar in that way. So if it's too far gone, there's going to be typically some permanent nerve damage. So she's going to mention numbers in her video here. 2 other things to mention. One is this is my other location in Lancaster. I was there 15 years before we moved up this way. And that's why the background looks different. And then the other question I get is, no, it does not turn your hair white. The treatment does not make your hair white. She just went gracefully gray between the 2. Okay, so I'll let Betty tell her story. It's about 2 minutes here. Okay, so I'm here with Betty, and she's been, how long have you been in the neuropathy program now?
A little over 2 months.
About 2 months. And you started, and you were pretty high percentages from what memories?
Yes. I'm correct, I'm 88% loss.
88%, right.
On the right and 78 on the left.
Yeah, and we weren't really sure, like, I don't know if it's gonna help initially.
Yes.
So tell me, what were you experiencing when you first came in with the neuropathy symptoms?
Yeah. Extremely restless at night,
Mhm.
and my toes area especially hurt. It was an unusual, it was hard to define or describe the ache that's there.
Mhm.
Sometimes it felt like my feet were freezing, and yet when I touched them, they weren't cold.
Right, that sensation of the freezing.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And then, what's been your experience since being able to start the program?
Well, I don't experience the restlessness or the pain.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's only with 2 months, and I have time to go yet, so
Yeah.
I'm very delighted.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
Yeah.
where this turns out for you, because I know when we looked at your last set of numbers, you're doing, I think it was less than 40%.
It's 31,
It's 31 on one side and
31 on the other.
on the other. Oh, is he?
Yes.
See, you know
Yes.
better than I did. That's great.
That's
So
what
that's a huge change from, 80s.
it is.
That's wonderful.
And I'm so grateful, but the thing that really blesses my heart is my older sister is numb from her knees down
Mhm.
and now from her hands to her elbows.
Mm.
And I was hoping I could avoid that, and I believe with God's help and your help, I'm doing that.
Yeah, we're really thankful to be a part of that, and
Yes.
that we get to be a part of your story with that. Betty, so thanks
Yes.
so much for sharing that. Do I have your permission to share this with other people, other patients, other students, other doctors?
Sure.
Yeah. Any
Yes,
conditions
please.
on sharing that?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Thanks so much, Betty.
You're welcome.
All right. Does that make sense? She lost 88% on one, 7 inches, like, put it over and turn it to the stage, and she got 50% of that back in 2 months. She went on to get complete resolution where all of her pain went away and all of her feeling came back. And I mention that because this is 6 years later. Okay? So the long-term effects, the long-term healing that's possible with this kind of work. So I'll let her share her 6-year follow-up here. Okay, so I'm here with Betty. This is about a 6 or so year follow-up. Yeah. So tell me what your symptoms are now for the neuropathy.
Well, it's good unless I eat sweets.
Okay?
Then I have misery in my feet.
Gotcha.
Big time.
But otherwise, you don't really need your equipment right now, and you're not really using that as part of your care plan anymore?
Correct.
Just stay on the diet more.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And that's fantastic long-term results. I'm so glad, especially because your sister was in bad shape
Yes.
and you avoided that. Thank God for that.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You do as well. Bless you.
Thank you. So yeah, she got to play with her grandkids again. And her sister, unfortunately, wasn't here. Myself or our other colleagues, she was out of the state and was in a wheelchair. And Betty also non-diabetic. So even though she was non-diabetic, notice when she had sugar, it made her symptoms worse. So she avoided it. She's like, that's not worth it anymore. So I hope to see some long-term, like, what are the long-term effects of this? What are the long-term side effects? So getting better. All right. So breakthrough secret number 2 is reducing inflammation. Okay, who's heard that inflammation is a bad thing? Right, like chronic inflammation, a big deal. It's one of the major killers in the world here. So what are the top triggers for this? Prolonged stress. Like, well, global pandemics and all kinds of crazy things like that, right? But anything that you have to do for the long haul, that's a long-term stressor. Pathogens. We are number 1 in the world for Lyme disease in this area. Like in Pennsylvania, it's a hotbed for Lyme disease, and you do need to be aware there's another tick-borne illness called Bartonella, and that particular infection is known to cause neuropathy and chronic pain symptoms. Okay, so infections can do this. Processed foods, bad fats, junk food, right, is the bottom line there. Chemicals and medications. You should be aware that some of your statin medications can actually cause muscle pain, weakness, neuropathy symptoms. Okay. What else? Heavy metals. Mercury is a big deal. Explain this to me. It's unsafe here, mercury, if we're dealing with mercury. OSHA says it's unsafe, you need all these safety rules and regulations over here. Goes to the dentist's office, they put it in your mouth and now it's safe. And then they take it back out and they have to follow all the same rules they did when it was dangerous over there. Something doesn't quite add up. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. I have more questions than answers on that one, but I do know that mercury and nerves they don't get along. They damage nerves pretty severely. And then chronic dehydration is another big one. So half your body weight in ounces a day is what is a general rule of thumb on the kind of water or the amount of water you need. And then the type of water you need is a whole other conversation. Spring water is typically best. If you're drinking tap water, you need to make sure that your municipality is taking care of things. There's things like fluoride in there, right? If your neighbor's medications that they're urinating out that don't get cleaned out through the water processing plant to go back into your water, now you're drinking their medications. All these things you don't necessarily think about. Thankfully, we got clean enough water, right? More than any other part of the world. But it doesn't mean it's optimal for what you want. So generally speaking, have your body weight in ounces. Spring water is great. Or at least get some kind of filtration on your water to make that a little cleaner. Is that fair? So those are the big ones. We start reducing inflammation, and we see miracles like this. Isabel, she's actually type 2 diabetic as well. Severe neuropathy. She said in her intake, if this isn't any better in a year from now, I'm probably dead. Like she was in bad shape. We did some removing toxins, helped her change lifestyle, got inflammation down, hydration, we did light therapy. And she came in one day and she said, Doc, I got a bill for you. I'm like, what's going on? Isabel, like, well, she's a wonderful French lady. And she said, none of my clothes fit anymore. I've lost 70 pounds. I need a completely new wardrobe, and I'm giving you the bill for it. So we had a good chuckle, but it was literally changed her life. So this picture here is 70 pounds lighter. And she said, I'm feeling better at 53 in my body than I ever have in my whole life. So when I say you can transform This is not just talking about, oh, let's help your neuropathy feel better. We're literally changing your experience in your world. Right? This can be a complete life transformation. So, number 3 then is actually showing you what this looks like. We're going to give you an opportunity to experience what actually happens in your body and actually feel that in real time. Does that sound like a plan? Let's do that. So, everybody, this is when you get involved here a little bit. And I think you're going to win today. We'll find out. We're all going to do some balance and test your balance. Okay, so everybody up. We'll do this together. Get to stretching out here a little bit. And I'm going to show you the screening test we do here for balance. And if any of them are too uncomfortable or you feel like you're not going to be sit on your feet, then don't push it. I don't want to pick you up off the floor. We haven't had that happen ever. And I don't want you to do the first one. So here's what it looks like though. Okay, we're going to stand feet together and hands are going to go on the hips the whole time. And the first one is simply, don't do it yet, you're going to close your eyes for 10 seconds. All right, that's a baseline. When you pass that one, we're going to do one knee up like this on your strongest leg, 10 seconds, eyes open. When you pass that one, it's eyes closed for 10 seconds with one leg up, okay? That's where we're going. Everybody ready for that? All right, look to the person beside you and say, I got your back. Okay? So we're going to see how our balance is doing, kind of bring some awareness to that. All right, here we go. So hands on the hips, feet as close together as you're able to, and
Close your eyes.
close your eyes. Go. And that's 10 seconds. If nobody fell over, good job. Let's try one leg standing. You ready? Eyes open on your strongest leg. 1, 2, 3, go. Bring that knee up, eyes open.
I got 2 bad metal knees.
Too bad, okay.
I do.
All right, so yeah, foot goes down, it's a fail. Okay, so that pretty much gets everybody on that one. So anybody balance better than they thought it was? Yeah, yours is better? Oh, I told you you're probably going to win. Yeah. Did that bring awareness to like, oh, wow, this is actually a little worse than I thought it might be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. So with that in mind, we're going to now pick somebody up to improve your balance and maybe something else going on too. We'll find out. Anybody been dealing with neuropathy longer than, say, 5 years? More than 5 years?
I think so. I don't know.
Actually, like maybe maybe around that time.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, yours has been
Yes, it's been about that. Yeah.
about 5 years too. Okay, anybody more than anybody not want to get treated today?
I'll watch because I don't get treated for, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I got yeah. That's fair. Yeah, so yeah, so let's do that. And how long have you had neuropathy for?
I haven't had those.
Oh, you okay? So you're kind of learning to it and figuring it out.
He's with me. So.
Got it. You just have bad knees.
All over.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, why don't you two then have a seat, and we'll do rock paper scissors for the 3 of you guys.
Ugh.
You want an opportunity to get? We're doing rock paper scissors. We're going to figure out the winner.
Oh, it's bad.
We're gonna have a little fun with this. Yeah. Can you? Yeah, we'll do rock paper. There we go. You want to play too? You gonna double up with Mama?
All right.
All right. Here we go. We'll shoot on 3. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll do. Yeah. So you all get the scissors. Ready? Let's try again. 1, 2, 3.
And what's the other one? Oh,
We got rock, paper, and scissors.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So paper beats rock.
How do you?
Yep. And you both had papers. Okay, thanks for playing. Yeah, the next time around. And then between Ashley and Laura, let's see who wins this one. You ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay, try again. Okay, rock beats the scissors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks for playing. Have a little fun with this, right? Figure this out. Ashley, come on up here. You get the opportunity here. Let's see what's going on. this. All right, so we're gonna check a couple other things for you here as well. And you've had neuropathy for about 5 years or so in that neighborhood. What is your general experience? Like, what do you suffer with? What's your
Tingleness, tightness. Get these little sharp shocks throughout my body, and I can't sleep at night.
Got it. So
And cold feet, I get that too.
And cold feet. Okay. Let's have you stand here, and let's have you let's take those shoes off to make this a little easier on the. Because we're gonna need that for the treatment anyway. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, just slide those off. We're gonna check your balance again. Does somebody have like an actual watch or something you can time her with?
Got me. Got the timer on your phone. 4:39.
We actually had a stopwatch. I didn't bring my stopwatch today.
I'll go grab one.
You got one on them, or you got one here? Laura's our timer.
I don't know how my
Then
works here.
you got perfect. She's ready to roll. Awesome. Hey, thank you. So just a second. No, you leave that on. That's fine. If you're cold, that's fine. I'm gonna check range of motion here. Let the shoulder relax completely. Let me do all the work. Let it drop in my hand. There you go. So that moves fine. I don't think we're gonna see much change there. Let this one relax completely. Yeah, so her range is okay. That's not a big deal there. We do see is some weakness in her shoulder though, in the elbow. Like that. I'm gonna push down, don't let me push down. Hold that up in the air. And so she's got some weakness in that shoulder. What does that have to do with neuropathy? I don't know yet. We're just finding things. And this one here, hold that strong. Hold that up strong. You see, that one's fine. But this one here, there's not as much resistance in that at all, right? Okay, so I'm just showing you other things we may experience that may or may not be related to this, but just what can happen when we get the right energy back into the body, that might change. Okay? So when you see a posture, which shoulder is higher? You can see that, like it's taller on the left one here. Yeah. So that would mean the muscle that holds that down is probably not firing right. So turn this here, pull that into your waist, hold that in real tight for me. Pull in with the wrist, and yeah, hold that in. I'm gonna pull like this. Don't let me do that. Pull that in. Just trying. There's nothing. Pull. Keep pulling. There's nothing there. Try the other one. Pull that one in tight. That one I can't move at all. You feel the difference with that? So we have some weakness on this left shoulder. Yeah. So
Are you right-handed too?
So, but this kind of weakness will not show in a handed dominance. This is actually a different neurological scenario. Which is your stronger leg? Remember which one you stood on? Right now, neither one? Okay. Let's try your balance though. This is where I'll be timer, Kate. So hands on your hips. And Kate's gonna count you in, and you'll stand on your best leg, eyes open. I'll be right here to catch you if need be.
Over how long?
We're trying to go for 10.
How long?
Okay,
Yeah, we're just trying to go for
so
10.
you do 1, 2, 3, and then she starts.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then start would be great.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's all you got. When foot goes down, we fail. Okay, so we got minutes in a
3
second.
seconds. Okay.
Yeah, let's try it again for fun. Yeah, one more time.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, this one was
Okay,
pretty good.
so she did a little better on that one. We got
Yeah,
what,
this one.
83 generously
Yeah.
on the. Okay, so that was, remember, she sort of her right leg got better with that one. Okay, so if we can improve that 100%, that would be a 6-second, right? So like.
Yeah.
Just like, if we can improve it 50%, we're in the 4 to 5 second range. Just to get some ideas on what that would look like. But any improvement will be better than nothing. We'll see what we get. You also need leg strength, right? So we're going to check your leg strength like we did with the arms. So you can see what's going on there. So I'm going to sit in the chair for me here again. And we have our stair climbers, right? And we got the hamstrings in the front of the leg. We're going to see which ones are working and which ones may not be working. So let's have you bring your knee up into my hand. Push up strong. That's all right. Let's do the other one here. And those are okay. Bring your ankle up. And pull the heel backwards. Yeah, pull back. I do feel your feet are cold.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. Pull back with the heel. See how that one doesn't work? Doesn't stay put. Point your toe down. That's the hamstring. This one now is the calf. You feel the calf contracting back there? Pull the heel back for me there. And that one's okay, but our hamstring's not working on that side. You guys see that? The quad is all right. Same thing here. Toe up, please. Yep, pull that heel back. And we see hamstring weak over there. Pull back again just to be sure. Yeah, that one's not firing right. Point the toe down. Now we're checking the calf. Pull the heel back. Okay, and so you notice she's a little weaker on this right side. And that might be why it's harder to stand on that right leg and you're a little better on the left one.
Okay.
Actually, that didn't make sense at all, right? Because you stood on this one and got 3 seconds.
3 on this one.
Yeah. That's curious. Anyway, so we
It was
see.
a little bit, it was more, I thought it was a little bit more on the
this
left
one.
side.
Yeah.
A little bit more she balanced.
No,
on the-
it was her left leg.
So when she was standing initially, that right one went down.
That went
was
down
a
quicker,
big one.
right.
And she started that one. She was able to do roughly 3 seconds on that. Are we all remember that same way? That's why we video this stuff. So we do it. Let's check a couple others. Bring your ankles up and out, heels on the floor. Yeah, these are your other support muscles. Hold that foot up in my hand. That one's not really working either. A little mushy there. Try that one up and out. Yeah, ooh, wow, that one's really good. Okay, so we had some more weakness on this right side going on. Just things to notice with that. And you got numbness in the feet right now. Like, can you explain the numbness, like scale of 1 to 10, or?
Oh, that's gonna be like a 10.
So it can, so interesting, numb, but it's excruciating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get tingleness and tightness, like the tightness is like so, like I can barely like open up my toe.
Yeah.
It's like kind of stiff.
Okay.
Like, so hard to open it.
Got it. So we got a lot of good information. What's going to happen now is I'm going to explain the technology and the things we do to make this better. And Dr. Mitchell is going to be doing the treatment for you. None of it's going to hurt. And we're going to use energy. We're going to use light. Okay, remember the physics we were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use light energy in the form of laser. And we're going to use some vibration and some other things I'll walk you through here in a minute. If you need to move and see better, feel free. But I'll start explaining that while she's getting set up here.
Oh, this is
Bring this out here.
So what he's setting up now is called our digital electrotherapeutic stimulation. Who's heard of a TENS unit before? Yeah, this is not TENS. TENS is 1950s technology. This is the new stuff. TENS would send one signal out. This will send a signal out. The body receives the signal, sends a different signal back. Every 4 milliseconds, this is rehabbing the nerve. It's tweaking the signaling.
This is old technology. Podiatrists need to update their technology because I just had that probably less than a year ago with my foot surgery.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
no, yeah. So it does have certain applications, but for neuropathy, it does not work. Yeah. But this is what that is doing. So it looks similar, but the functionality is completely different. So it's actually reading in real time what's going on with the nerve and giving the proper signaling to rehab the nerve. Okay. And we have different options in terms of which one we can use. Another piece is vibration therapy. Do you ever push a hand mower, like a push mower? Right? That's the wrong vibration. What do your hands feel like after that? Or kind of like buzzy and right? Yeah, tingly and buzzy after a while. That's actually doing this to the nerve, not actually bringing it. So we get the right vibration, and good vibes makes things better. Improving balance and circulation improvement. Okay? And then we use light therapy. We have several different versions of it. This one here is one of the main ones we use for neuropathy. You can use anywhere and everywhere. So not only does it restore blood flow, but it relieves pain. And you can also treat brain, for example, back, your feet, for your hand, anywhere you need light and energy, you can use that, on knees and so on as well. Okay? Relieving pain and restoring blood flow are one of the key players for that one. And probably over 30 years at least now in the literature, guess how many negative side effects there are with laser? 0 for low-level laser. 0 side effects. 0 negative ones. What are the side effects we see, Doc? Like better vision, improved balance, more energy. Brain works better. Pain goes away. These are the side effects we see. Yeah, increased motor strength, all that. Yeah. Another big piece is the nutrition protocols that actually work. You may have seen things online, buy this product, try that thing, this cream, what have you, and maybe they work, maybe they don't. If they do work, I don't see them in my office, right? But it's one leg of the stool. So nutrition is important, but again, remember the triangle, that's the chemistry layer. We need the physics in there so it can all work right. So the right food protocols at work, and then the nutrition we utilize to rehab the nerve tissue is used in over 500 different clinics around the country, getting similar results with tens of thousands of patients dealing with neuropathy. So this has been tried and true clinically for well over 10 years now. Now, this is why we failed with Betty, because we were only doing in-office therapies for her. And we didn't do the other things that were critical for home use and home repair. All right? But these are also really important if you're dealing with neuropathy and you've got a pinched nerve in your back that's making legs weak, for example, then we can actually traction that. That's what Autumn's sitting on back here. It gently opens the pressure on the nerve and allows that to communicate better to the legs. Okay, we can help people save back surgeries with this stuff. We have a similar thing for knees as well. That's the other piece right over here. People have knee on knee. Like we could have helped your knees out a while ago. And actually, traction the knee joint and find more space in there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
13 years ago, I had surgery up here on my neck. And then last October, I had surgery on my lower back. I had a cyst on my spine.
Yeah.
And they cut that out. But I'm wondering, like, for non-surgery, my back surgery and that, could that cause, like, nerve pain?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I see that a lot. Traumas of any kind, right? Even though they're surgical, they're trying to accomplish a certain thing, that's still trauma in the body, right? And so then you respond with either fight, flight, or freeze, right? Those are our options.
Christmas Eve, this past Christmas Eve, I had my blood sugar had went down, and I was trying to get downstairs to get something to bring it up quick. But I got so kind of weak, so I put my arm on the table, and I put my head on my arm.
Yeah.
My arm slipped off the table, and I fell out the chair, and I fell on my arm.
Okay.
So like now, I can't even like lift my arm up.
Oh, wow.
I gotta like
You
do
can
like
actually
this. I'm going for an MRI Friday for because they think I did some damage to my shoulder up here, because that's why I can't, like, I had to learn to eat with my left hand, because I can't, this is the furthest I can, like, bring my arm up, like, to my mouth to, like,
Wow.
So I'm pretty messed up.
Yeah, man, so, hang in there, I'm going to show you that in the next slide or two, there's some other things that might be useful for things like the shoulders and other injuries like that, too, that work amazingly on pain and dysfunction like that. So MRI is a good idea. You need to get information on what's behind that. But as far as solutions for healing it, hang in there. This is another big one, pulse. So when she's sitting on here, that's what these mats are here. Remember the battery image? So when your battery gets too low, you can't heal. This is literally like taking your cell phone and putting it on that charger, and it's charging your batteries in your body. So it's a magnet that turns on and off real quickly, and that magnetism charges the cells in your body. It gets you energy back in your cells. So some of you may have heard of Tony Robbins before, the international speaker, right? He's got these in his home, and he sleeps on them before he does his presentations, and so it's just one application, but basically it juices the whole body up. Gets the nerves healing again. So those are some of the in-clinic ones we do. Another one, and this is what I was talking about for you, Kenneth, soft wave therapy. It looks like a ultrasound wand, and it sends a radio wave into the tissue, which then heals up, gets your own stem cells activated. Instead of injecting stem cells, we can actually do it with technology this way. The Eagles have at least 2 in their locker room. It was all over Paris in the Olympics. I mean, every major sports team has got this equipment now because it's amazing for healing out tissue. With neuropathy, we see it go from this to this. Crazy, right? Like that foot's in bad shape. How many treatments between this and this? What do you think it took to get there?
3.
Okay. Usually I hear 10 or like 10.
10.
It's like 5 or
I
10.
said years.
No. Number of treatments.
No,
As you said 3.
I said 10.
You said 10? Yeah. It's actually 1. 1. This is for my buddy, and if I didn't know the dog, I'd be like, you're pulling my leg. But I know the guy who sent me the pictures, like, look what you saw today. Went from that to that in 1 treatment. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, we've not seen a foot that dead before, like in a long time. And the ones that I had, we didn't have this equipment yet. But now I'm like, so this is a game changer for healing up tissue. It really does amazing stuff. And then last but not least is breathing, right? Everybody needs to breathe. We do it anyway. Let me show you to do it in a way that's going to relax your nervous system and actually stimulate healing. Okay? So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4. Need some water, Laura? Do you have some or you need to get some water? You got one in there? Perfect. Okay. Just making sure you're okay. Oh, and your bracelet's on there. We'll use that on the bottom of your water bottle. We'll see that in a second. Get your water. So exhale with a 6 count for the hum. The hum is where the magic happens. That's what actually activates your vagus nerve and stimulates healing. We're gonna hold it out for 2 and then repeat. We'll do like 3 rounds together. Do you need a hand with that? Yeah. You got it? Okay. There you go. And then, yeah, in your bag you found the bracelet too. That's your it's a reminder bracelet. If you're like me, you need some reminders on things. Also, it's kind of your declaration going, you know what? I don't want what standard medicine that's not actually going to change my life. It's up to me to make a difference in my health. So it's kind of you committing to you, and I'm going to learn. So I'm going to teach me to learn today and apply it and actually get better. Like it's this is me committing to me to get better. So that's what a little support for you all now. So let's do the breathing. Ready? So we're going to breathe in and hold it for 4. Hold it. Let me hear you hum. Good. Out for 2 and breathe it in. Hold it. In. I had one lady learn this at the workshop. She's on her feet all day long for her job. And she's like, my feet were killing me at the end of the day. She was doing this 5 to 10 times an hour, like I told her. And she said between when she learned that at the workshop she did for her initial assessment, so my feet are already feeling different just by doing the breathing. And so this works. This will actually relax your nervous system and do this, which gets more blood flow to the tissues, get you in a relaxed state so you can actually start healing. Because you cannot be in crisis mode and healing at the same time. Does that make sense? So that's how that works. All right. Leroy's pain is 50% better in 90 days. The reason I mentioned Leroy is he was diabetic, would not give up Turkey Hill sweet tea. Okay, and he still made headway. So I think he would have gotten way better if he didn't, give up the junk, but he chose not to, and he still made some headway. So just be encouraged that you don't need to be 100% perfect with whatever therapy would make sense for you to still make some strides in the right direction. Sherry, I can feel my feet and my toes for the first time in 5 to 6 years. Elsie, her husband would drive her an hour and a quarter to get here for therapies because her balance was so bad she couldn't drive anymore. And so now we know we're seeing her because she's out living her life again. And yeah, can better balance. Feel my toes when I'm walking. It doesn't feel weird. He said it would feel like a bunched up sock and like gravel in his shoes. And I haven't felt my toes in 10 years. So these are the things we get to be a part of, and just again to give you guys some more hope of what's possible out there. All right. So let's see how we do with Ashley.
All right. Take this here. Grab this one. Let's see, these ones back here. I'll turn that up there.
Cool. So Ashley,
Close though?
A little bit.
what do you notice?
Well, I don't mind him touching my feet, because normally when you touch my feet, I kick you away.
Well, okay, that's a win.
That's better. Oh yeah, I can feel you taking that off, but I didn't feel you put it on.
Sure.
That is really
That's
cool.
a big deal.
That's
there.
a giant deal.
Yeah, I'll take this away.
Let me check your muscle before we get up here. So remember she had weakness in the left hammy, and then the right side ankles were weak, and let's see how we're doing with that one. What else do you notice? You feel it's good. Huh?
Yeah, it feels good. I can actually touch my feet and it don't bother me.
And before it would.
Mhm.
Wow, when you say bother, like what do you mean bother
Like
you?
I don't, like when you touch my feet,
Uh-huh.
I'm just like I don't know, just feels weird. I don't know.
Uh-huh. And it's not like that
Yeah.
anymore?
The top of my feet is fine. Like I feel
Wow. When's the last time your feet were fine?
both in years. Years. I don't get my feet done no more. Yeah, you can't touch my feet, no nothing.
Wow.
Mhm.
So this is a big deal.
Yep.
That's really cool. Yeah. So like we get a snapshot into this, but like for you to go, it's been years since my feet felt fine. That's a tongue twister. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Let's see what the strength is doing.
Okay.
Okay? So bring your heels on the floor for me. Let's go up and out with ankles.
Up and out.
Yeah, I'm gonna push down here, don't let me. What do you notice there?
That feels better.
She's like,
Yeah, remember that.
like there's like a boing, like
She couldn't even get.
She's like not even flinching. Yeah. Let's have you keep that up and pull the heel back for me there.
Up.
Keep the ankle up and pull your heel back that way.
Oh,
Yeah. There you go. That's a lot sturdier too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's point this toe down. Bring the knee up a hair for me, and then you're gonna step on the gas with that foot.
You said step on it?
Yeah, like ankle down, and then pull the heel back. We're checking your calf. That's sturdy. Bring the ankle up. Same thing. Pull that heel back. What do you notice with all that?
Much better.
Much better, right? I'm pulling. Yeah. Let's have you stand up and see about balance.
Balance right.
What do you notice standing on the floor? Does that feel different than you would?
Yeah, I can feel the ground.
Uh-huh. And you couldn't before?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Does it feel the same or different?
Feels different, but yeah, I can feel it.
Different in a good way?
Mhm.
That's good. Let's check. Oh, this arm was weak, right? Let's check that one here. Bend the elbow for me. Yeah. Relax just a hair right there. Elbow to the ceiling for me. Hold that up with my hand. Right here. That's a lot better too, huh?
Mhm.
Turn this backwards. Pull that in tight to your side. Hold that one in. Yeah, there we go. Now that's working the way it's supposed to.
Mhm.
That's pretty fun. Should we try balance?
Yeah.
Let's check the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stand on that
Oh,
right
let me
leg.
do my left one.
You do left leg, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I normally start off all right.
Ready? Ready? Wait,
Oh, yeah, wait for where you'll count
Yeah.
down.
All right, 1, 2, go.
That's all right.
Want to do the other one?
Yeah.
1, 2, go.
Oh, this one was kind of, yeah.
Want to do that again?
Yeah, you can do it again.
Can you do it
All right.
again?
Yeah.
1, 2, go.
Hold on, don't do it again. But yeah, I can feel a difference.
Difference with the balance.
Yeah,
What do you notice different?
yeah, I can stand up a little longer.
Felt longer to you.
Mm-hmm.
More sturdy